Hey everybody, welcome to Muscular Development's preview of the 2021 New York Pro taking place in Tampa, Florida. Joining me for the commentary on this preview is none other than two-time New York Pro champion, the Boston Mass, Jose Raymond. What's up, Jose?
What's happening, Ron?
Before we talk about New York, we just had the first opening 212 show there in Indiana, and I was there, and I'm sure you were following along online. What were your general impressions? Let's start with the 212 division, where new guy, I never heard of this guy. You probably have. Tonio Burton. I was really shocked by this guy.
Yeah, first of all, those guys brought it. The top three and I mean even the top 5 or 6 guys all brought it. Really, really good condition, and I was amazed at the height of the top 3 guys. They were all like 5'7" or taller. It looked, which is good. They brought it. Great overall package. I think the top 3 you could have flip flopped any which way. You could have made an argument for any one of them. Yeah. I was really impressed with Nathan Epler. Yeah. Between his condition, his flow, his symmetry. For such a tall guy, he was the tallest guy in the lineup. He looked awesome. Obviously, Jewett was the favorite going in, just because the updates he kept posting and looked unbelievable condition-wise and very complete. Didn't see him lacking much at all. I might have leaned towards him anyway.
Yeah. Why do you think the judges went with him and took him down to 3rd and had Tonio and Nathan ahead of him?
I think that John may have over depleted. Like he looked a little bit on the stringy side, from what I think he could have looked. Yeah. And it took away from some of the sharpness that he has. So it just, something was off from what I could see him looking like heading into the show. And the guy Epler had almost cleaner lines because he wasn't as depleted. Like it was just a weird thing. I think they were both sharper than the winner. Yeah. Who had what seemed to be a little bit of a film, but he was the thickest. Yeah. He was the most dense of that group. So yeah, you could have gone really any way. I liked his physique. The winner, he had great abs and thick, a little more thickness through the back, and glutes. His glutes almost looked too big for his physique. But it was a good look.
He was actually in the, I don't want to sound like I'm really being a jerk, but he was in the worst condition out of anyone in the top 5. Because, geez, Epler, this new guy, Brian Balzano, they were peeled. Yeah, peeled, crazy, shredded, dry. That's why I didn't have Tonio in the running for the win, even though by the end of the judging and the callouts, it was looking like it was going to go that way. I still said, no, because, I mean, these guys are shredded. Tonio's lower body, his quads, his hand, he didn't have that real sharpness that the other guys had. And I thought that was going to knock him down to 3rd at best. But, I've been wrong many times before. Have you ever seen a top 5 at a 212 pro show where 3 out of the top 5 were making their pro debut?
No. Yeah. Who was it? Balzano was the other one?
Balzano, Nathan, and Tonio, all 3 of them. That was their first pro show.
Wow.
So, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that was exciting. And that also says a lot for the veterans who aren't getting out and competing early, Yeah. This was a great opportunity for anyone. As you see, 3 no names were in the top 5. Yeah. Not to say that they're no names, but they're brand new. Yeah. But they were awesome. They were smart. They did the right thing. They got out and competed, and here you have it.
I think it gives people confidence in the judging, because for many years, people have always said, you got to pay your dues. They're not going to look at you your first time, and you got to get out there a few times before they're even give a look at you. And these guys prove that's complete bull, because, geez, if I was a judge and that was my way of thinking, these guys never would have even been in the first call out.
Or they would have been posing with Samir Trudy. Samir's a name. Samir's placed very well in a lot of shows, and just by Instagram, he looks like an Olympian.
Yeah.
I don't know what went wrong with him. Apparently, he doesn't either.
Right.
But I was hoping great things for him because his physique is unbelievable. But that shows you that if you're not ready, it doesn't matter where you've placed before or what your name is.
Yeah.
You got to be ready that day.
Right.
My boy Justin Randall killed it. That kid is an animal. He was the shortest guy in the lineup and in the first call out.
Right.
Hard as nails. That just shows hard work gets rewarded, and he deserved it for sure. I was really impressed with that Balzano guy. I think he was a former middleweight just a few years ago, so he did himself really, really proud by getting in that first call out, and what arguably you could have maybe dumped him into the top three. That guy was. Him and Epler, I kept mistaken for each other. They had a similar haircut, and both crazy conditioned.
Yeah.
Epler's a little taller, but yeah, what a great show. One thing I wanted to add was I don't know what happened with Dwayne Walker. You were there.
Yeah.
He looked in the pictures I saw. He looked every bit as sharp as when he was top 4 in Tampa or New York or whatever it was. He was awesome, but was he posing awkward? Was something?
You know what happened? This is Giles and I talked about it on his show that's going to be out soon. His upper body got bigger than it was last year, and his lower body, which needed to come up, looks like it stayed exactly the same. So now his legs look even weaker because, dude, he's got this front lat spread that's just the craziest thing you've ever seen. It looks like his shoulders like 4 feet apart. It's nuts. Yeah. And a tiny little waist. His front double bicep, the same thing. Crazy V taper, huge peak biceps, hanging tries. If his lower body was even like 20% better, I still think 9th place he could have been a few places higher than that for sure.
Yeah, I'm not understanding that. That's why I brought it up. From what I saw, he looked dynamite. Some of his presentation looked a little off, maybe. Yeah. But his legs were in great condition. He was, I don't know if that placing was warranted, or maybe they're sending a message like, dude, you're that good. You need to do something. I don't know. I was very impressed by his physique, by his look. I wish he'd have maybe gotten a little better look.
Yeah. The only other guy that was out of the top 5 that a lot of people thought was going to do better, just because of the freak factor, was that Morgan asked 320 pounds. And he was the only one in the open whose condition was comparable to those guys we just talked about in the 212. Because across the board in the open, the condition wasn't anything like the 212 guys. They destroyed the open guys in condition. But this Morgan guy, for someone who's 6'3" and 315 or 20 pounds, to be that grainy and dry, you could see every little fiber in every muscle group. It was nuts. But
that bodes well for him because he showed up just like that at the Arnold Classic last year or 2 years ago, whatever.
Last year, yeah.
And it wasn't a one-off. This guy's continuing to get better.
Yeah. So
hopefully he gets rewarded and his places go up because he's just getting better. That guy is a freak. Every angle was just nuts.
And what's funny? He poses more like a classic physique guy. He hits a lot of really artistic shots that you wouldn't expect someone with that type of physique to hit. And most of them he actually pulls off. But he doesn't just get up there and do a bunch of crabs and side chests like a lot of the big guys do.
Right.
So we got to talk about, I guess Blessing was the heavy favorite going into this because all year long we heard Blessing versus Nick versus Blessing. And the New York Pro was where that was supposed to happen. But because we knew Nick wasn't doing the Indy Pro, even though we didn't really know who else was doing it, we figured, well, Blessing's going to blow away the Indy Pro, and then he's going to have to really battle Nick at the New York. And it didn't really turn out that way, unfortunately. I don't know what went wrong with Blessing's prep, because a month or so ago, he looked a lot better than this, a lot better, much fuller, much rounder. He lost a lot of that. Nothing was popping, real flat. It's too bad. What a beautiful physique.
Yeah, he's in the same category as Dwayne Walker. They have that crazy taper, wide shoulders. Only Dwayne was in a lot better condition. They both have undersized legs for that massive upper body. What's Blessing's front double and rear double are very impressive.
Yeah.
You know, he has some really good shots. I don't know that third place was where I would have put him.
Would you have had him higher or lower?
I would have had him lower. I would have had Morgan ahead of him. Honestly, like the guy's bigger, harder. You know, these shows, if you're not like, you know, Flex Wheeler can get away with being off.
Right.
Because he's got everything. But you know, Blessing was missing things and he was off.
Right.
So you know, I would have had, I don't know, you know, I wasn't there. I got to repeat that. So I don't know, but I think he should be very happy with the third place there. Maybe he can tighten it up and fill it out, whatever he's got to do between now and New York, and at least bounce back from a weaker performance.
Yeah, I mean, if he's doing all 3 shows this month, and then, you know, I'm assuming he's going to shut it down. And if I were him, I would take a year to just get those legs up, because upper body, even though you couldn't really see it because he was so flat and depleted looking, his upper body's fantastic, but his legs, they have a long way to go to match that. I want to see, you know, I'm a dick when it comes to legs. I'm super critical. I want to see sweep and I want to see a ham drop, and I didn't see much of either of those on him. So that's what I want to see that guy bring next time. But Justin Rodriguez, first pro win. I've seen that guy take second a bunch of times, third a bunch of times, fourth. I was very happy he finally got the win, but he got pushed really hard by this Muhammad Al Alam from Russia. They were very, very closely matched.
Yeah. Well, that Muhammad had incredible legs. His quads, great sweep, separation, striated.
Yeah.
And then, you know, his front double was awesome. He lost from the back mostly. In overall size, I think Justin nailed it. He was huge. He looked, that most muscular was crazy. His back double was crazy. You know, some people argue that this wasn't his best, but I think it was. I think it was, all in all, just his confidence on stage, his posing, his presentation. I think this was the best combination yet from him. Maybe it was because of the lineup he was in, but you know, once you look at it, he won pretty easily. He was pushed, but he won pretty easily. I think you could argue he won every shot.
Yeah.
So
it's
nasty.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see him in a tougher lineup in a few days, because that's going to be the true test. Obviously, it's because every time somebody wins a show, you look at the lineup because you wonder who else was there, who'd he beat, and he beat, you know, not to say these guys aren't good, but there's some guys he's going to be up against at the New York Pro that are definitely going to push him a lot harder. So let's get into that. Obviously, Nick Walker, huge favorite for this show. We'll get into Hassan too, but Nick Walker, you know, he's taken a lot of criticism. He's also gotten a lot of praise. He's got a huge fan base for a young kid, because, you know, the young fans, I don't think they can relate to these 35, 40, 45-year-old pros. When they see someone who's closer to their age, it gets them excited. It's like it's more attainable or something. But yeah, you've talked about it because, you know, you pointed out several times on your podcast, on the Boston Mass YouTube channel, everybody, that he actually does. He's not just a freak. He's not just a mass monster, you know, a blocky, and he's got good shape. He's just so thick. I think it's going to come down to him and Hassan Mustafa. To me, that's where the real battle. And, you know, it'd be interesting if Justin could beat those guys. My God, that's going to really establish Justin as a threat. But tell me about what you see as the main battle that's going to happen in the Open.
Well, I agree with you. I think you know, just Nick and Hassan are pretty much the exact same height and weight. You know, they're both going to be around 5'7", 260. or high 250s.
Wow.
And that's massive.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of who is sharper and who presents themselves better. I know Hassan's biggest knock has been his presentation, because his condition has been not always where we want it, but it's mostly how he was presenting himself. And if he's improved upon that, which I know he has, he could knock it out of the park for sure.
Condition-wise, the pictures he's been posting, he looks better to me now than he did at any of the. I've only seen him a couple times. He's only done, I think, 3 pro shows at this point, but he's already in way better condition than he was last year at Chicago. He did Tampa in 2019 and
New York
Pro. Yeah, he was 4th place at the show last year.
Yeah,
it was later in the season, but Chris's work, Cito's working with him. I think he's figured out how to dial this guy in, because unless something goes drastically wrong in the next couple of days, he's going to bring a really freaky package of size, that thick, round, full, hanging muscle with a really good condition. And Walker, that's what I'm saying. These are 2 freaks with shape. It's going to be tough.
So Hassan was dealing with some health issues last year at the New York Pro.
Yeah.
And he looks better today than he did a year ago at this point. And he's not dealing with those health issues.
Right.
So it would seem to me, and this lineup, I would say it's comparable, but I would say last year was a little better lineup.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that he's going to be, I see no less than top 3 if he's ready and possibly winning it. Same thing with Nick. I think Nick has constantly improved. I think he's improved hugely since his last show. Yeah. That kid's a full-time bodybuilder. Everything he does goes into bodybuilding. He goes to bed at 8 o'clock at night, gets his sleep, doesn't miss meals, trains perfectly. I love watching Nick's training videos because it's not sloppy like a young kid throwing weights around. It's very controlled, and his physique is showing it. So I would not be surprised if Nick won. I wouldn't be surprised. That's my top 3 right there. I would say Justin, Nick, and Hassan for sure.
So we got Blessing, we got Dorian Hayward, who actually, he looked pretty good. I still want to see Dorian with better condition. I see, more separation, just more dryness. I want to see him dialed in better because he's got so much muscle. And the other guy I'm looking forward to seeing, because he's just started working with, I think he's working with Justin Miller now, on Win.
He's another one. When I saw that name, his physique is beautiful. Like as far as aesthetically pleasing and thick, and he's not missing. His only problem has been condition. So he's another one. He could come in and beat all of them if he's 100%.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to see, because certain shots of his, like his front double bicep ons, is just perfection, just thickness, great shape, little waist. I just wanted to see him dial it in a little bit better. So the Open, gonna be a good show. 212. It's mostly the same guys. Actually, it's all the front runners I see were the same guys from Indy. We got Noel Adame, who he was 5th in Indy. I had him higher than that for sure. What a freak. Nathan Epler again, John Jewett again, Derek Oslin, Weapon X, Justin Randall, Samir Trudy, and this new guy from Israel who was 7th, Sahar Kazis. So it's almost the same exact lineup for 212, minus a couple people and with a couple other people thrown in. Who's your favorite for 212?
Before I answer that, I wanted to ask you if you heard anything about Sean Smith. He wasn't able to compete last week. Yeah, Is he going to make the New York Pro?
No, he announced he'd had some, like a respiratory infection, a stomach bug. So he decided he's gonna wrap it up for this year and come back next year.
Oh, okay. Well, that answers that. Yeah, I would say once again, it wouldn't surprise me if Jewett makes some big changes over the week, comes in 4 pounds heavier, fuller, and is able to leapfrog these guys. Are you sure that Epler is doing it?
Yeah, he's on the list.
Okay, yeah. I didn't see any interviews with him saying that he wasn't. But yeah, I think it's going to come down to that again. Epler, Josh Jewett, Derek Oslin. You know, what a physique on him, what a look. But
Yeah.
From what I saw last week, I don't know that he can make the corrections in a week to, you know, be in the mix for winning.
Right.
I think maybe he can improve a few spots, and due to the lineup, he might get a little better look. Same thing with Samir Trudy. It's like, I don't know that he could improve enough to win, but he may be able to get himself back up into the first call out, you know, the 5-6 spot.
Yeah.
There's this guy, Oswaldo Gonzalez. He's done
him.
Tampa a few years in a row. He's a taller guy,
Yeah.
real small waist, but really good condition. And he has worked his way into first callouts, I think, every year in a row in that 212 division. When you first see him, you're like, no. But as he poses and gets compared to the other guys, he's placed well.
I want to say he won the over 40 at Tampa last year. They did like I could be wrong, but that's for some reason I seem to recall that. Yeah, I remember. I'm pretty sure he did. Is he that old though? I don't know if he's that old.
He didn't look that old to me.
It's hard to say. But yeah, Derek.
Noel,
Yeah, go ahead.
Noel is another one. I think Noel was closer to his best than those other guys that I named, you know, being Samir and Oslin. Noel needs to come in, you know, just crazy dry, and he could leapfrog a bunch of people.
Yeah.
He's another one. His presentation needs to be spot on, or he gets himself into trouble, because he does have the thicker midsection. You know, I know all about it. So if you're not holding it, controlling it perfectly, then it really throws off a really good physique. He's a freak. I mean, he's huge, biggest legs anywhere.
His legs were nuts. His legs were
nuts.
And
his chest is too. He's got all the knockout body parts. He's just got to be within range of those other guys condition-wise.
Yeah, his condition was actually, I thought it was bang on perfect, honestly. His glutes were just, he had about 1,000 striations going horizontally across his glutes. I think his only, I was trying to justify, why did they put him down in 5th? Why? And, you know, in some shots, he doesn't have like a crazy V taper. It's more of a square look to his torso. It's the only thing I could really think of to make where it would make sense.
You know, it's funny. When the show was actually in New York, in the aura, the energy in the building in New York would always lean towards a Noel Adame type of physique, a freak. You know, when you had Marcus Rule winning, or, you know, when it came down between me and Sammy, you know, I got to win over Sammy because it was just New York. New York likes freak. Yeah. Then he would have a really, really great shot in New York. And it sounds weird because it should be like you're judging. It doesn't matter where it is.
Right.
But the energy in New York always leaned towards the freakiest dude. And
this is Florida.
yeah, it's the Tampa, New York Pro. So it's a little different. I hope he does. I hope he gets a shot to really compare with those guys. He's twice the size of all those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to compare people to you because I don't know how you feel about it, but I was thinking I had shades of Jose Raymond looking at that guy. He was just so massive, so thick, and he did have great condition. So I hope he does better this weekend. I really, because he doesn't speak much English, but you know, Hector translates for me and stuff, and he's a really cool, humble guy. I'd like to see him move up. Classic physique. I didn't recognize a lot of the names, but the front runner, based on what he's looking like and what he's done, is Danny Unin. Danny has been 6th at the Olympia twice, 7th once. I saw him beat Arash for the Legion Sports Show back in 2019. Kind of a quiet, humble guy. Doesn't say a lot on social media, but wow, he's put together, man. He's got an incredible physique, that kid.
Yeah, his pictures speak volumes. He posted a picture the other day of a comparison at 10 days out from a year ago and then 10 days out now. Yeah. And he is pretty nutty looking, that rear double, his hamstrings, he's all dug out. He's got everything. His chest is all splintered, great midsection. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I don't really recognize any of the other names, to be honest with you.
The only one that stood out to me, just because the Pittsburgh show was only a couple weeks ago, and I've seen him before. He's from Russia. Dmitry, or wish me luck on this. Vorats, Dmitry with a V, Vorotsniev, something like that. But another guy with great shape. I think he could be. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He could be bigger, but man, he's another one with a little tiny waist, super crazy V taper, flaring thighs. He should be in the first call up. But Danny Union, as far as I'm concerned, no disrespect to the other guys, but if he doesn't win, I'll eat my hat.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen him on stage, next to people that weren't Chris Bumstead. Like that's what's held him back is the guys in the Classic are just so good in the top. He's been top 5, right?
6. I mean, he was 6 twice at the Olympia.
Yeah.
And 7th once. I mean, and the Classic's a very, very competitive division, as you know, because everyone, their grandmother wants to be a classic physique guy now.
Right.
So, grandmother. But yeah, that's my pick. So men's physique, I didn't recognize, honestly, many of the names at all. I think I saw Keem Scott there. Women's bodybuilding, the only names, unfortunately, I'm familiar with, LaDawn McDay, who's done very, very well in the past. I think she's been away from competition for a little while. She's coming back, and you got that Ann Sheehan. I don't know if any of the other names stood out to you, but those are the 2 that I saw that I know I've seen them before, and they're very, very good. You're looking at it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know any of the.
It's a lot of it's a lot of divisions. We try to keep up, but it's a lot of divisions. If anybody out there equally follows all the division, props to you, because that's tough. There's a lot of athletes. Figure, I believe Boston is going to bring another win home. We got Maria Luisa Baeza Diaz, who's co-owner of Pro Lifters Gym with her husband Tom. She just won in Pittsburgh, I think it was, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I think there was only about a dozen women in figure, which surprises me. Usually there's a good 25 to 35. But of all the names I saw, hers stood out to me because she's obviously someone who pretty much always gets top 5, if not, top 3 at any show she enters these days.
Yeah, she's pretty incredible. Her condition. I remember when she first started, I judged her at the Cutler or the New England's.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't even know what to do with her. She was so good. Like at the time, what was it? Was it figure? It was figure she was competing in, but she looked like a woman's physique. So women's physique had just started. So we're kind of looking around like, is that what the women's physique are going to look like? Or, and then Steve was like, I'm like, what do we do here? He's like, she's just that good. She has to win. It's sometimes the physique just, it's too good not to win. Like, even if it doesn't fit the criteria perfectly at the time, like we were like, she's just too good. Yeah. And now she's proven it as a pro, a multiple time Olympian now, multiple wins. And she always brings extraordinary condition, and her legs are great. Everything is great. So
like you said, though, it wouldn't take much for her to move up to women's physique at all.
No, especially because the quality of the muscle is just crazy. I don't think she wants to get that any bigger.
Right.
But I think she's doing just fine where she's at.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if she won again.
Yeah, I mean, she's already got her Olympia qualification, but I think if you're in shape, and I think a lot of East Coast people really love that New York Pro title. We hear about New Yorkers wanting it, but I think wherever, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, whatever, anyone from this part of the country, you want that New York Pro title.
Right.
Kind of like our little mini Olympia.
Yeah. Well, it's right down the road.
True. Bikini, we have a 3-time Olympia champion, Ashley Kaltwasser. She just won in either Pittsburgh or St. Louis, one of those shows. Don't get mad at me, figure girls, for not remembering, but I don't see anybody beating Ashley Kaltwasser, 3-time Olympia champ. Do you? The only one I see is this. She's already taken second to her. Alessia Faccini from Italy is very good, but Ashley's another level. Ashley's just a veteran. She's tough.
Wait a minute. Who's the Pacini girl is in the show?
Facchini, Alicia. Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, Facchini. I don't know why I put an E on the end. I think
because the Pacini girl won the Olympia.
No, that's Isa Facchini.
Yeah.
This is Alessia Facchini. I said Facchini because I assume all Italian names have an E at the end, but they don't all.
Oh, yeah, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, she's good. So women's physique, I didn't recognize a lot of names, but I recognize Sharonica Henton because I've seen her a few times. She's very good. I know a lot of people want to see this Lisa Kiesling, the classical queen.
Oh, yeah.
She's a big girl. She packs a lot of muscle on her frame.
She's come a long way quickly.
Yeah, her pictures look morphed, but they're not, I don't think.
Oh, she morphed one the other day as a joke.
She did.
Yeah, she's a freak with the condition. Yeah. And she's very balanced. She's a phenomenal poser. I think that's what her biggest thing is. She helps a lot of people with posing and whatnot. Yeah, she's gonna do very well. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if she wins. She's little. She's not as big as you think. I think she's only, in the 5'2" area.
Is that little for a woman? Apparently.
Well, she's not like the real beauty.
Shanique is like 5'7" or 5'8".
Yeah.
And then she puts heels on. It's all over.
Yeah.
So we have a wellness again. Well, I shouldn't say again because I've only seen one pro wellness show last year in Tampa, and that wasn't. There were so many travel restrictions. A lot of the better people couldn't make it, but this time we had the entire top 5 from the Pittsburgh show a couple weeks ago, all back in this show. So that was Angela Borges from Brazil, Yarishna Ayala, I think she's from New York, Amanda Rosarde, also a Brazilian, I think, Dr. Sunny Andrews, and Lorena Ragusa. So it could end up being the exact same placings unless they've changed dramatically in 2 weeks. But have you
who's the woman that won?
Angela. Yeah.
Burgess.
Yeah.
That Sunny Andrews is unreal. Dr. Sunny Andrews. She got crazy glutes, hams, quads, crazy condition. Yeah. I was a big fan of hers, and then I seen that Angela Borges. She's like the tallest one of all of them. She had the tattoos down her forearms.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, she looked great.
I'd be surprised if she doesn't win again, honestly.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much the same lineup, right?
Exactly. It's almost exactly. There's some new people there's other people that I never heard of. So, you could always.
Were you there in Pittsburgh?
I didn't go to Pitt, but unless somebody's really fantastic is in this lineup, one of those other names, it could end up exactly like you said. Could be the same order and everything. But yeah, it's interesting because this is. I really want to get a good look at wellness because last year, again, I have to say this is no disrespect, but it wasn't really a true wellness lineup last year. It was like a couple figure pros that had decided, well, I'll try wellness, or a couple of physique girls that said, well, let me come in softer and see how that does in wellness. But you got to get the Brazilians in there if you're going to have a real wellness contest. That's just the way it is. I mean, they're built for wellness.
The Brazilians, Puerto Ricans,
Dominicans, Colombians, Cubans. Yeah.
So those are girls that have been training that way for years already. Strictly quads and glutes, and man,
that's half my Instagram feed right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that is it. I think they're doing a live stream. So bevsgym.com is where you can find that out. But we're going to be doing live play-by-play. I want to let everyone know musculardevelopment.com on the Noble forums. We're going to be putting up contest pictures. Because there's a live stream, we can't put video up until Monday, but we will be doing video to hold for use later. But I'm looking forward to it. New York Pro is always, I wish it was in New York. Unfortunately, it's not. But man, it's always a really strong energy at that show. You don't have people just sitting there quietly watching the stage. These people get into it for that show.
Do you know where the show is? Is it the same place where the Olympia was, or?
No, that's Orlando. So this is
okay.
Tampa Bay Marriott Waterside. It's right on the water. It's next to a huge convention center. Yeah, it's a very nice venue. They've had Tampa Pro there a couple times. And was that, I think I get confused because there's another Hotel Grand Hyatt that they've done a couple things at, but I'm pretty sure I know exactly where this place is. It's a very nice venue. I like when it's all in. I like the way they put it now where everything's in one location. You never have to leave the building if you don't want to.
Yeah, that's great.
Too convenient.
Very convenient for the competitors for sure.
Geez, we're too lazy to walk or take an Uber. Come on now.
Yeah.
So that is it, guys. I want to encourage you to check out Jose's YouTube channel. It is the Boston Mass. Check out his website, thebostonmass.com. It's got coaching services there, a lot of merchandise, other good stuff. I'm not even sure. I haven't checked on it in a few weeks. And Instagram is THEE Boston Mass. And man, I wish you were coming, but you're going to be in Chicago for an appearance?
Yeah, I'm going down there for Capital Nutrition. They're having a big blowout event. There's a powerlifting competition and all kinds of fun stuff.
Cool. Well, you'll be missed because everyone likes to have you at the show.
There. I would love to.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for your commentary. As always, you tell it like it is, and that's a rare thing. Some of us are too afraid to say what we want to say all the time. And that's it, man. We will see all of you guys on musculardevelopment.com this weekend. Also, make sure you check out this YouTube channel. We're going to be uploading content. And that's it. New York Pro, third biggest show in the industry, happening very, very soon. And we're going to be there. For Jose Raymond and Ron Harris, we're out.